Hello. So today we're going to do something I think is important, but I think is not something that I do very often, is just kind of grind a deck a little bit. Um, they obviously there's just a big shakeup to modern, and I've been getting the question a lot. Spike, if you had an RCQ this weekend, if you had a tournament you needed to play this weekend, what would you play? My answer has been this Gruul Omniscience Woodlands deck that we top 8 of the mocks with. We also 5-2 the challenge the day before, lost our win in the top 8 of that one. The day we streamed just leagues, we were 11-4, and this was pre-ban. And also in those challenge tournaments, 3 of our 4 losses were to Nadu. And so Nadu being banned, I think, is like an awesome thing for this archetype. And in general, I think I'm still like stuck on a few different sideboard slots, but I'm really happy with where the main deck is. I was kind of considering, one thing is like I actually board out the rings a lot in this deck, but I think having them in the main is important for a few matchups. I think they do still make sense in the main deck. Because Nadu's banned, we are able to cut the second Pithing Needle that was in the sideboard for the cookbook. Although I'm kind of considering this cookbook being an anti-storm hate piece, and I'm not sure if that's supposed to be a Soulless Jailer or something else. But right now we have cookbook, so you can get a discard outlet off of your Karn. We'll see. I think against Storm, you're mostly just trying to race your opponent, and like that is not a super good plan in that matchup. But I think it's okay to have Storm be like kind of your worst matchup still potentially. Not that like because like a Karn tutor target's not going to be super duper impactful anyways. But kind of simply put, this deck is pretty fast, capable of winning on turn 3, very consistently winning on turn 4. It is very consistent at doing that with so many good cheap enablers, and it's very resilient. Your combo piece is Shifting Woodland, a land that doesn't care about counter spells, it doesn't care about discard spells. What are we trying to discard? Try to discard Omniscience or Griselbrand into the yard to copy them with Woodland. That's the point of playing the cookbook. This deck I think has been a big powerhouse, and like one thing that's like really promising to me about this archetype, especially compared to other combo decks like Goryo's, is we were really beating up on the Dimir Frog lists, which is something that you might not expect playing against a deck that's playing a ton of discard spells, counter spells, access to Surgical, access to Harbinger of the Tides. I think we're like 5-1 or 4-1 against Dimir Frog with the archetype, but it's just because Shifting Woodland is so good against them game 1, and if they do have those lock pieces in sideboard games, your deck is just all Spyros and Fables and Rings and Karns. It's very difficult for them to contain your combo and also contain your big top-end card advantage spells, which is what I like about this deck so much. This deck slaps around Jeskai. Jeskai's a really funny matchup. The Necro matchups also got better with the Grief Ban, for sure, or like I would think it got better with the Grief Ban. It probably didn't get worse. And the Necro matchup has always been a little weird. Like playing around their like Harbinger, or sorry, their Bogart Harbingers is really interesting. But I guess kind of simply put, like I kind of want to play this deck in a challenge tomorrow. I've been recommending this deck to people for upcoming tournaments, so I want to play it on stream today to get some more reps in with it myself. I also I guess still need to like maybe acquire cards for this for my own paper RCQs. Okay, so on the draw against a Gigantha. Definitely gonna keep this hand. Hopefully this isn't Storm again. Got an RCQ this weekend. I can't decide if I want to play Green Eldrazi or Woodland. Meta's likely 20% plus Boros variance. Any ideas? Well, Woodland is very good against the Boros variance, so probably a good metagame call for that. Do you think Solte Rec could be good in this new climate? Okay, well, you got to build your deck better. Would be what? With Peace and Love, of course. You got to play the 4th Fatal Push. You should not main deck any number of Surgical. You should not main deck Torrential Gearhulk. I would probably not play Consume the Meek, but maybe it's okay. You're playing. How many Mystical Teachings are you playing, or is it you're playing the new like land Mystical Teachings? Like I just never understand why. A lot of things about like the more typical like Sultai Rec builds, but don't play Gearhulk, don't play Surgical, play the 4th Force of Negation, you donkey. So my opponent is on a multi-5, then Thought Seizes me. But it's like I would play Waterlogged Grove over Mystical Teachings. I think it's cool that you kind of get that effect in the land. But the thing is, Mystical Teachings is also just much worse than Memory Deluge. It's so much worse than Memory Deluge. I think you should just play Deluge instead. All right. 2 minutes later, they thought seize my rumble. But it's like I would think that the rec decks would be slow and kind of clunky against energy builds, and I think that they also probably are not good against most of the combo decks. So I kind of don't know what you're targeting with them, you know, besides, you know, this is my pet deck, I play my pet deck kind of energy. So I guess I shouldn't have main phased, but not the biggest deal. It does look like we're going to get a turn 3 Omniscience. We'll see if that, you know, translates into a win, or if we're just going to cast the rings. Maybe we'll die on turn 4. Seems not the most likely, especially with the Fable blocker. Plus the Ajani. I guess they could maybe static prison my Fable and stop me from looting. Wide main phase. I'm mostly just kind of focused on looking at chat, just main phased. And also my opponent's playing pretty slow, so I'm trying to get the show on the road a little bit. Yeah, I mean, this looks a little bit closer to what I usually play. I don't know that I'm necessarily loving black instead of red, where like I do still think red and 6 is really, really dang nice. And then also, if you're red, you can play Snapcaster Flame of Anor. And I think it's like Flame of Anor is awesome because it's like an instant speed draw 2, but it's also just has a lot of utility in general. I think that's I would be kind of tempted to go red instead of black, but up for debate. You know, kind of like Prowess too. Like Wilderness Wreck is one of these decks that we've played a lot of on the stream. We've played a lot of Wilderness Wreck variants, and I don't exactly like it. It just kind of takes a lot for me to get excited to play that archetype because we've played so many different builds of it over the years. That if like the big update is we get to play Planar Genesis and Waterlogged Teachings, it's tough for me to get you know, excited to play that on stream, if that makes sense. So I guess is why I have not posted Image 3. Usually when I have Griselbrand in play, I just cast the Reservoir and draw a lot of cards. Alright, so on the draw against Mardu, usually I'm bringing in the Mites. I'm cutting 2 Spyros and a Cash Grab and clicking Submit. Dig Through Slime, though. Yeah, you can play Dig Through Slime in the Teamer build. But I think if I was going to build Wreck, I would try Waterlogged Teachings. I would try Planar Genesis, but I would also have Snapcaster Flame Tomio in the list, probably. Is Fnatic, Bristly Bill, Birthing Ritual, Chthonian Nightmare, Nethergoyf anywhere near a deck that could be functional? I don't know if it's just Bill as Mana Sings for Ronus. So I was thinking that, like, so, you know, we've played Tasigur and Bill as Mana Sinks and Ferocious Enablers for Fnatic. I think it's cool that they both enable Ferocious cheaply and they're both Mana Sinks for Fnatic. And I do think that there's maybe a shell that's like green-black mid-range, green-black rock that's like really built around these synergies, but I'm not exactly sure what it would look like. Maybe we should try Wreck again. Well, I mean, this is what I'm trying to say, is it's like, I don't know, maybe y'all didn't hear, or I mumbled or something, but I'm just not that interested in playing Wreck because it is very, very, very similar from the dozens and dozens of Wreck builds we've played in the past. It is an archetype that I feel like I have explored to death. I'm just not that interested in it because I don't feel like I have that much more room to innovate on it. Like there's like a couple small upgrades, and the leagues with Wreck take forever, and I don't think that the deck would be that good. You know what I mean? I heard I just love Wreck. Oh, okay, I see. Never mind. Oh, I forgot that we're all agenda posting nonstop in here. Any Omnis in the yard? I think the green-black build would have to be chock full of disruption creatures and is almost sort of a non-white death and taxes. That's kind of a confusing thing to say, I guess, because are there disruption creatures in green black? It's like Bowmaster, Shieldred, and like you're probably playing those cards, but it just seems a little confusing in general, I guess. So things are looking kind of poor. Game 2 here. Early harvest plus flare of cultivation has room to be explored. I wish, dude. I love early harvest. I've wanted to play an early harvest deck for a long time. You know what? I guess, honestly, maybe you're right, because, like, I've been working on, so, like, I've been wanting to play, like, an Emerald Medallion Storm deck. It sounds really cool, and you can play Manamorphose, and you can play Regrowth. But honestly, like, Regrowthing early harvest in that kind of deck does sound kind of nice. And then you could also Emerald Medallion Heartbreaker Spring to discount it. Sounds like awful, and like the biggest problem too is like you have no card advantage is like the big problem. It's like what how are we how are we translating all of this mana to like draw, you know? Tony built a storm deck for every medallion, even Pearl Medallion. I think we have to keep this. I'm playing early harvest in my green blue tooth and nail deck. Yeah. Utopia Sprawl is kind of nice with because you get to untap that too. I could just play the ring. I mean, obviously you're playing the ring in that kind of deck, but it's like, yeah, Harmonize. Harmonize better than nothing. First time in Spike Chat, y'all really be brewing over here. Yeah, we're trying. We're always trying. One kind of sad thing about this is early harvest only untaps basics. It would be so balanced if it untapped Alta lands. Probably still like I don't think it would be that unbalanced, but you can't play. You probably can't play the MDFC regrowth. Or maybe you can. Is 6 good enough card advantage with low? 6, I think 6 is like unplayable in this shell by the sounds of it, right? Because we're it sounds like this deck is a deck that is built around casting a lot of instants and sorceries, which 6 doesn't retrace. And I'm also like a big hater of the whole Loam 6 stuff. Like, I think you should only ever have Loam in your deck if you also have Seismic Assault, with maybe some very rare exceptions to this idea. But I think for the most part, I'm only ever wanting to put Loam in my deck if I also have Seismic Assault. And so it's like if you untap with a 6, 6 by itself is card advantage. All you need for 6 to do to be card advantage is to untap with it. And trying to like go crazy with loam and stuff is just it's like so slow and clunky in my opinion, and I just not that into it. Okay, so we're gonna traverse for woodland, cast a Fable, and my opponent, they kept on the strength of double Thoughtseize, not doing the most here. I guess we do need to still, we do need to find top ends to win if they don't have disruption. Yeah, Seed of Hope is really, really good in this deck, I think. Play Snowlands and Extraplanar Lens. That Snowlands Extraplanar Lens is probably better than uh the spring. Trying to think of massive raw card advantage green and Loam as a draw 3 for Emerald Storm. Well, it's not a draw 3 though, because again, 6 only retraces permanents, and so the whole idea of like the cards we're retracing, okay, exile my graveyard. They should have done this in response to my woodland activation, I think. But early harvest, Manamorphose, Regrowth. All of these cards are not cards that you. Sorry, my train of thought today has been so all over the place. You can't retrace them with 6. Is the problem. So I think I'm gonna go Seed of Hope first, and then see if we want to cast the Spyro, and we will want to play the ring. What's my favorite birthing ritual build? I mean, I kind of like the Celestia build we played yesterday. I don't think it's anything too amazing. So they have an Ob here. Are they going to sack the Raptor? They are. I do think Birthing Ritual has a lot of room. I really want to try Yawgmoth too. Honestly, I was thinking this yesterday. I know I kind of sound like a broken record or whatever. Okay, that's a good turn. Dude, Hamtraptor is a ridiculous card. But I know I kind of sound like a broken record, but I think if I was gonna build Yawgmoth, I would be on a build that's pretty in on like Rumble and Shifting Woodland. I think that would make a lot of sense. They have the Kitty's Blessing. Oh boy. Is there a space for Hammer post Nadu ban? I mean, like in the trash can, maybe. It's like Hammer just has so many problems. In fact, I mean, I know, like some people were really hyping up Nadu and Hammer. You know what I mean? Might as well discard the Sprawl, I think, since this does get through the ring. If I played any of the Birthing Ritual Yogg decks, they're pretty sick. I've played against them. Like I've kind of stayed away from Yogg because it just is an archetype that takes a lot. Like you almost have to have been working on Yawgmoth this entire time post MH3. It is such a difficult archetype to feel like you understand, or that you feel like you know exactly the right way to build it. There's so many options from MH3. And the deck is like bursting to the seams. It is really, really, really tricky. And so I'm open to trying to work on it, but it doesn't seem like the highest priority for me. So I think I take the ring. I want to try an Urza deck. Good. You should want to try Urza decks. So I didn't find a Omni, not yet at least. Obviously, we're still just like mostly digging for Omniscience. So I think I'm copying here. Discarding these two. We know we had one Omni in the top 34. Pretty likely to find one next turn. We'll see if my opponent has some graveyard hate or something. We also have this Griselbrand in the yard. So the Ob Pride interaction is bugged. I believe it's bugged. I believe they're supposed to have a third Ob here. The Rumble Cauldron builds of Yaga felt really great with Woodland. Yeah, I think that is the direction I would want to most go into with the archetype. Rumble is just like I have it in the stream notification. Rumble is honestly in the conversation for best MH3 card. It is just like such an insane enabler that it's both like an enabler and a ramp spell and a good card selection spell. Card is awesome. Something I'd really love to play in this theoretical Emerald Medallion Ruby Storm deck, but there is, going to be an impermanence. Are we sure it's a bug? I believe it's a bug because I remember like you used to be able to copy the Ob token with Chariot and Pioneer, and it would copy with Loyalty. But this is part of the dialogue tree, is trying to understand if we're sure it's a bug or not. I like the birthing Yogg build's better, but Rumble's Yogg is definitely a thing. Yeah, it's like it's so tough because you have Ritual, Yogg, Phyrexian Tower, Rumble, Shifting Woodland, Marionette Apprentice, Agatha's Soul Cauldron is still like that card. You know, used to be like people unironically wanted that card banned. It's like the list is really long. My opponent says BRB. Please F6 on my turn, opponent. Also, I really want to cast Thraben Charm too. There's a few image cards I haven't got around to casting. Finally got around to casting Detective's Phoenix and loved it. I really like the Proliferate Whale. I've built 2 decks a long time ago with them, and I look at them and I hate them. My heart is filled with disgust at those lists, but I'd love to figure out the Proliferate Whale at some point. This card is also pretty interesting to me. I don't think it's great, but I want to cast it. I want to cast this one. Exile target non-land permanent. You may cast the card for as long as it remains exiled, and you may spend colorless mana as though it's mana of any color. Cast it. This card is really weird, but I'm kind of about it. Let's see. I kind of want to cast this card, Amphibian Downpour. It doesn't seem amazing. I've only cast Brain Surge a couple times, but Brain Surge I think is a pretty good one. I want to cast Consuming Corruption. I really want to cast Streamtide Whale. I also want to circle back to Elves. I think there's a chance Elves is okay. It might be like a deck that takes the Nadu space, but probably going to be occupied by something else. Anything else? Brainstone? Did I say Brainstone? I said Brain Surge. Opponent's still not back. It's okay. Give it to me straight. Doc is Goria's dead. No, Goria's is still good. We played it this week. It seemed great. We played a Flare of Denial build, but there's a lot of ways you could build it. You could build it just like with more Emperors, Priests. You could play Thoughtseizes, Prismatic Endings. You can build the deck in a lot of different ways. All right, that 3 Omnisciences left in the deck. We were pretty likely to hit here. Does my opponent have another Thraben Charm or something along those lines as their last card that we probably would lose if that were the case? And it seems to not be the case. Miracles with Brain Surge too good. I really like. I'm kind of shocked we haven't done that yet, but it's like Wrath of Skies is so much better than Terminus. So like we would have to be more in on Temporal Mastery, I think, which is not the most exciting. Great, one gives us the GG. Okay, on the play. I think on the play against Giganta, I'm going to keep him. To some extent, this is just again a testimony to Surveil lands existing. I have the Elf Copium. I need you to figure it out. I mean, I think our Elves build was pretty good. I think there's a good chance. That we are going to want to play like a main deck Sun Cleanser. That being said, says they're on Jun Saga. Thank you, opponent. That being said, we have not played against a Wrath of Skies all week. There has not been a single Wrath of Skies opponent this week. I guess maybe with the exception of some Goryo's opponents, we haven't played against Jeskai all week. I don't know if they're just hiding. I don't know if it's just like matchup lottery stuff. But I know as soon as I play Elves, we'll play against it 3 times. How does looping the statue win? So what you do with Karn is you cast statue infinite times, you make infinite storm, then you pick up Karn with statue, you play Karn, and you get Aetherflux Reservoir. Then you cast any other spell for infinite life, infinite damage. You have the option of playing Essence Reliquary and Clock of Omens, so you don't have to have another spell in your hand. But it has like never really cost us a game the entire time, so at the moment I'm kind of just not on the plan. I was kind of hoping we would get Thoughtseized here so that we would just not pick anything up with Seed of Hope intentionally and discard the Omniscience, but I guess I guess we'll be okay with this outcome. Everyone is only playing Jeskai to beat Nadu, I guess. I mean, I guess so. Maybe. Jeskai still is probably a good modern deck. Control for days is firmly on Ritual, but also Possum very firmly on Rumble. Yeah. It's an interesting convo. Okay, so here we're, anticipating our opponent taking the Fable, so let's just let that happen. It doesn't help that everyone is playing Jeskai with the ring, and it's probably incorrect. You're saying it would be correct for them to not have the ring in the deck? Because I think the ring is, like, really optimal in Jeskai over, like, any other card advantage plans, but... Right, so you want to do this. You want to fetch Commercial District, then Seed of Hope, so you don't mill over Commercial District with Seed of Hope. Okay, picking up Karn, and then surveilling Wooded Foothills into the graveyard. Might be a cookbook game. This deck was fun. I don't think Holding Me Back would be buying rings. Honestly, if that's the only thing, I encourage you to pick up the decks without rings. I think what you would do is you would play the 4th Cash Grab, 4th Traverse, and then you have 1 flex spot to play with. This would either be a main deck, Behold the Multiverse, one with the Multiverse, the 8-mana Omniscience that only lets you cast 1 spell, or you would play like 1 Haywire Mite main deck. But I think the deck is like I board out rings in a lot of matchups. The rings are important. I think the deck is optimal with the ring, but if you want to pick it up just for like F&M or like just, pick it up and then pick up rings later, or even just test it without the rings, I do encourage you to do so. All right, Raptor into Bowmaster, two treasure tokens. Would you play the ring in Flame of Nor and Jeskai Wizards? No, it's one or the other. Your mana curve is too high. As someone who's playing the ring in Boros, I can assure you it's very fucking good. So the ring is very odd and in Boros. We've had this conversation a lot. I think the ring it's kind of invisible to some extent, the amount of games you lose because of it. So I'm definitely playing Karn. Am I really going to get Cookbook here? Could just get Bridge. I think I'm going to get Cookbook. But let me show you the ring will win you a lot of games in Boros. Absolutely. The ring has a lot of moments where it's very good, but it is just having 4 drops in the deck can be awkward. You're going to mulligan a lot more hands because of the ring. You're going to either brick off Amped Raptor or not feel super comfortable casting Amped Raptor. And like it's like the games where the ring wins you the game, it's like really obvious. It's really obvious that you like this insane card advantage card has done it again. The ring has done it again. Oh, tough thoughtseize. I guess I can copy Woodland, discard Omniscience if they don't have enough pressure to kill me, but there's enough pressure to kill me. But I think the games where you lose because of the ring are kind of invisible, and so it's just kind of an interesting thing to talk about. Like I watched Dingo play with the ring, and there were several games where it was very good, and several games where he lost because of it, and it was for me very difficult to analyze. We're boarding the same way we do against like Bowmaster decks in general: -1 Cash Grab, -2 Spyro, and 3 Haywire Mite. I can only go by my 3 weeks of using it, but it's been amazing. I don't know, like this is definitely what I've been hearing from people playing the ring, that they think it's amazing. And I'm not saying that you're wrong, but I'm saying what I've seen is a lot of like I see a lot of awkwardness with the card too. It is very hard for me to evaluate. I'm not saying it is right or wrong, but I am saying I've seen a lot of clunkiness and awkwardness, and I've seen a lot of games lost because of the ring that are kind of invisible. It's kind of invisible, like just you mulligan to hand that you would not have had to mulligan if the ring was just a 3-drop. I've seen Dingo hold a lot of Amped Raptors that he like otherwise would feel very comfortable casting. I've seen a screenshot with Mingu where he has 3 lands in play and 4 rings in his hand, and obviously that's the extreme example. of just never hitting that 4th land drop. But I'm not saying anybody's right or wrong. I'm just saying I'm having a hard time evaluating it. You have to change your play patterns. Amp is only a turn 2 play when you have Guide into Hub, and then you go turn 2 Ring. But that's what I'm saying. If the Raptor goes from being always an insane turn 2 play to only a turn 2 play if you have Guide Hub, that is a big point against the Ring. That's like exactly what I'm saying. That is literally my like argument against it, right? And this attitude also is a big part of the reason why I'm like thinking people might be wrong, or like that people are overestimating the Ring, is because they just ignore all this and they only think about the games where Ring clearly dominates for them. Like the games where Ring wins, it's very clear, very obvious. The games where Ring is costing you is much less obvious, much less clear. I get it, man. I'd encourage you to test it. I do appreciate the feedback. But it's also like a lot of other people are just playing Ring and Boros on stream. I don't think it's the most interesting. Nor am I very likely to like register like red-white energy as a tournament deck anytime soon. But I appreciate the feedback and the conversation. Should have changed my play patterns. Do you have Delirium at least? People playing Raptor on turn 2 is usually wrong. That is just not true. It's just not true. The upside of hitting like obviously if you're playing on turn 2 and your opponent doesn't have anything to kill, you might hit a removal spell that bricks. Yes, that might happen. But if you can just Raptor into a threat on turn 2, it just translates into a game win a lot of the time. And if you Raptor to discharge is like +4 energy, like there are a lot of games where you just should slam Raptor on turn 2. I think it's just kind of like one of these like overthink kind of things. So probably not attacking with the Nethergoyf and letting me kill the Wrenn in 6. We have Omniscience. Might as well copy it. Open for a spell. A lot of good spells here. It's not the worst. I mean, we have the Ring in play. We've got Omniscience available next turn, hopefully. It's like the inverse of the don't play bad cards to make your good cards better. You're playing a good card that makes your other good cards worse. Yeah, that is a really good way to put it. Very good way to put it. Alright, so now traversing for Griselbrand may be a little bit worse. Although I'm down to just like put a Griselbrand into play and probably not draw cards off of it unless we find Karn. Well, maybe I should draw 7. It's like okay, let's just see if this resolves first. I mean, I'm going to take 14 and go to 4, and I'm dead to 2 bolts exactly, but I just am drawing 7 with Omniscience in play. It's probably just correct. I do brick on Karn here. And brick on Ring. So maybe not correct. Ring is also great against the Dimir Frog deck too. Just gives you the ability to outshine card advantage. Possible Spec is right. Again, the Ring is always very good if it resolves in these fair matchups, but you know, you're also like turning on their spell pierces, you're turning on their force of negations in a way that you aren't otherwise. And also Dimir Frog is like your best matchup as Boros. I don't think you even really need to worry too much about that. But yeah, it could be optimal. It could be optimal. I'm just again unsure or whatever. All right. I kind of just want to thin the deck a little bit before I cast the Rumble to have the highest chance of Karn. We do miss. It's an interesting turn. I like that we get to not die to like Wrenn and 6 ping plus bolt. Shouldn't you have gone Pyro? Not into the Bowmaster. It's not an option. Or at that point I'm just resigning myself to being dead to Bolt, right? I guess if I gain the 2 life off the Mite, that's not true. But if I brick, then I am dead to the Bolt, and it seems unnecessary, right? Because we just have Griselbrand in play, and we're at 6 life, and we have a ton of blockers. Like they probably can't kill Griselbrand. It dodges everything besides like Terminate. You know. Okay, they thought seized by 6 lands. Does the ring not kill us to ping and bolt? Oh, sorry, it does kill us to ping and bolt. Oh no, it doesn't, because we can copy Haywire Mite and then gain 2. Another land. Okay, well, they let that happen. Do I even do anything here? Probably fine. Can't you discard 1 safely? Can't do anything safely this match. Dude. This actually might be every land in the deck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Okay, not every land. Yeah, where's Bobo, huh? I'd even find another Omniscience to just like have an Omniscience in play. Well, I can cast Omniscience with my Fable tokens, which is fun. Could play a Toxrill the Corrosive in the board to fight the creatures in the energy deck. Okay, let me read this card. I mean, this card, I don't know. I don't really get it. Like, the energy is already like your best matchup. You don't need to play like a really underpowered card like this. That's only good if you're like winning more anyways. Could you have waited till after the Nile activation? The problem is it's like I don't want I don't want them to play the spell bomb and then do nothing, and then all of a sudden I don't have enough mana if they like just wait, right? I was thinking about Sulfur Elemental though. Funny enough. Sulfur Elemental is like the split second white creatures get +1/-1. Doesn't kill Guide of Souls though, so probably not where you want to be. One mana short of killing them with this Ballista. I think I'm like just value statuing, which is not something that comes up all that often. Okay, just concede. Going to game 3. Very funny game to draw that many lands and still win. Sulfur Elemental doesn't hit anything besides Pride and the Cat tokens. Yeah, I know. But also, like, people are suggesting playing Plague Engineer for, like, basically the same thing. Um, yeah, I don't think it's great because it turns a Johnny from a 1/2 into a 2/1, which all of a sudden is just like a real threat. What was your overall record with Goblin Flare? I don't remember, but it wasn't super high. What's the combo statue? So you Omniscience, Statue, Infinite Mana, Statue, Infinite Storm, pick up Karn, play Reservoir, Infinite Life, Infinite Damage. Illness in the Ranks also sideboard option. Yeah. You'll be okay against them. Like against a Johnny, like if it doesn't matter if you flip a Johnny if you have illness in the ranks because they're the cats just never do anything. I guess you'd be able to buff Ocelot Pride. Yeah, illness in the ranks probably okay against them. All right, 2 Amped Raptors on turn 2. Harvester of Misery and Persist would be good against energy. I think this is kind of flawed logic because just like persisting in Archon of Cruelty or Gorya's Vengeancing and Atraxa is very good against energy. So it doesn't seem like there's a lot of like point in trying to persist like kind of a shitty card, right? Although it is nice that you can use it early than get it later. All right, so getting hit for 4. Almost definitely looting away a Karn. Let's see what we draw. Okay, let's go, I think, Karn and Cash Grab here. We do find a land. Now, at the moment, they have no green mana for Haywire Mite. Now they have green mana for Haywire Mite. 2 cards left in their hand after that. Likely just flip a Johnny if you play Sulfur Elemental. Well, they shouldn't flip a Johnny, right? Because they won't be able to do anything like with the cats if they do. It's like they should just keep the 2/1 most of the time. I just thought it was an interesting card. I don't actually think it's probably optimal. Not quite lucky enough to mill a Omniscience yet. I'm gonna name red despite not being able to use the mana as effectively. I want to be able to traverse for Spyro, so I'll need second red to be able to do that. And then I guess we just could play a second Fable, but I think we'll just play Patterns them. Surprised Toxic Deluge doesn't see much play. I like Deluge, yeah. I would be also in support of it seeing some more play. So I'm probably going to block the Amtraptor with a spawn and take 4 going down to 10. And then top decking this land allows me to Karn for explosives on 2. Copy spawn with reflection. I mean, all that does is open us up to a removal spell, right? Unless I could have done that like end of turn last turn. I think this just got unsummoning sick. I guess we might as well play around like heroic intervention or something random like that. Not that they would ever be playing that here. We'll just like block before we sack. No real cost not to. So they still do have this Gigantha. And here she is. So if I draw a land, I'll probably just Cityscape level. Rumble. Okay, down to cast a Rumble, I guess. Down to win the game. So in these spots, I guess it's probably a little bit better to statue. Yeah, I'll just statue first. I was thinking I just would be lazy and get Reservoir, and then Griselbrand, but let's not be too lazy. They have a card in hand and a mana up. These matchups are just like so good. It's really exciting, I think, when you're like a relatively fast combo deck that's very, very good against the interactive decks. What kind of graveyard works best? I think Surgical is the best graveyard hate spell against us. Yeah, I think it's Surgical. Like Surgical and Endurance, I think are a lot better than like Nile Spellbomb or Hearse, because it's like you have to play those out preemptively, which means I just don't have to activate Woodland. I can just cast Fables and Rings and Karns. But against like Endurance and Surgical, the fact that you can it's invisible that you have it, and I have to like spend 4 mana to like copy is a big tempo swing. And Surgical is better because then you just can't combo at all after that. Yeah, Dothie's pretty good too, I think. Because I can't really kill it. Dothie is very good against us. Do you ever worry about Sprawl in the same land? In matchups that can kill the land. Didn't you say earlier you've never lost to a Surgical? I think I did lose to a Surgical today. But it's just because it's just mostly that this deck is very resilient to graveyard hate. It's not that Surgical is bad against the deck, but it's just not. Surgical isn't a free win the game card. And also, I had a lot of opponents playing Surgical that were playing it poorly too, for whatever that's worth. Probably not worth the most. We have a turn 4 kill. Is that going to be fast enough here on the draw against Yogg? Modern would have been nice, but Commander would have been ruined. Would it? I don't know. Just rule 0 it away or something. But also, I know we're mostly memeing, but I kind of think that like the Nadu as is was like much worse for Commander probably. Okay, pretty unlikely that we don't die next turn. I want to Spyro. This way they don't like Boseiju my Fable. Although if they hold up Boseiju for Woodland, we're pretty cooked anyways. Forgot to win the die roll of this game. Isn't it better than its prior iteration in CEDH? I would think in regular EDH too. But yeah, I don't really know much about the formats. That's okay. It was just a pretty poorly designed card. And it's at least gone in our format. Well, that's a good start for us. Yeah, I thought the YouTube video ended up I thought I was able to express myself pretty well, but you know, it does not seem like Wizards it seems like Wizards is going to double down on the scheduled BNR stuff, and it is what it is. All right, well, I'm going to block. Hopefully my opponent doesn't have a Boseiju or an Endurance, but we're not doing anything else but click and copy Omniscience. Boo. Yeah, it did seem pretty likely with how they didn't like really dig very much that last turn. They rumble into a Dryad Arbor or a Verdant Catacombs. I haven't played Timeless in a long time. I do kind of miss Timeless. I thought it was pretty fun. I also spent like a lot of money getting into it, and it just wasn't like the streams weren't very popular either. But I may want to return to it one day. Okay, so mites are in. Although if they're on Rumble over Birthing Ritual, the mites are worse, but it still hits their cauldrons. Maybe I should bring in the needle. I want to cut my rings. 2 mites and a needle looks kind of good. What are the scariest cyber cards? Harbinger of the Seas, Surgical Extraction, probably the 1 and 2. Blood Moon's like a lot easier to beat than Harbinger. Been playing the second time. Looks like a bridge exposing the board really hurt. Yeah, I would imagine. Well, I'm clicking the keep button. Like the thing about Timeless too, and it's kind of the same thing about like a lot of other formats besides Modern, is there just aren't tournaments. You know, there isn't like something to prep for, and so without the support from Wizards to have like interesting and engaging tournaments, it's really difficult for these formats to thrive. I think I should play Commercial District so it's like less obvious that I have the Woodland. Got a nice turn 3 win here on the play. Hopefully. And then I guess if they play Cauldron, we'll at least get to Karn and shut it down. It's like I got really excited about Timeless. I learned the format. I'm brewing in it, and like there's like one like I wait weeks for this metagame challenge thing, and then when I can finally play the metagame challenge, people are in there just farming gems with like just random ass cards. It's like that like there aren't real tournaments for Timeless was so frustrating to me. My experience with Timeless was everyone playing Grief Scam. That wasn't my experience, but I don't doubt that it happened. I guess though I was playing before Grief was really a thing, huh? You got an endurance? Oh, better. High level ranked in Timeless is all real decks. I've been loving it. I mean, I was also enjoying playing Timeless when I was playing it, but it just doesn't seem like a format that can become popular without tournament support. You know what I mean? Like, just a format being popular just because it's pretty fun is tough. Oh, oopsie doopsie. Sorry, I was getting a Tums. So we have allowed them an extra orc army. Acid Reflux Gang, rise up. Well, I was kind of banking on finding a land this turn. Although Needling Yogg seems like a plan. I'm going to go ahead and Rumble again. This way my Karn can have, like, assuming I hit a land here, I can Karn with a lot of mana available. Although now I'm down to this last Karn and the Griselbrand to win with. Maybe I should have taken a Karn there, but I feel like I really want this land. So maybe we just need to get like Cityscape Leveler with the Karn. Okay. Exiled Graveyard. No cards left in their hand. Gets in for like 4 damage. I go down to 12. So in this spot, I have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 mana. Bit awkward because now my Karn is going to die probably. But I think I'm just going to grab Cityscape Leveler and cast that, and then there's a good chance that wins the game by itself, and then if it dies, we can Woodlands it. We do still have Griselbrand in the deck too. There could be a better line, but I'm going to take this one. I might want to discard the leveler, I guess, to the Fable, and then I can get a lot more pressure on my opponent that way if I do that. So they're not immediately slamming a card on top. Maybe it's Yawgmoth. They put Woodland into the yard. Makes sense they would think about that. Yeah, I think I'm going to discard the leveler to the Fable. I get to attack with it this turn, and then also get to double Seed of Hope so I don't get raced as easily. I guess we'll see what they do. Just plays a goose. No way to save the Karn, so I guess we'll just eat the Orc army here. Yeah, no cards in their hand. I don't want them to be able to Bowmaster kill my Shaman, so we'll discard the Leveler. We do have Delirium now. Go ahead and sack this. Deny the Orc army. Go copy. And I think I'm killing the Bowmaster, which allows them to not double block my Shaman token. Killing the Goose to stop them from making more foods is also, I think, an option in this spot. I should also be main phasing these Seed of Hopes so that if I find Shifting Woodland, I can double copy Leveler next turn. Couldn't copy this turn because it would not have had it would have had Summoning Sickness. Dude, we just beat Surgical every time. It's kind of wild. It's not over yet, but assuming no good top deck here, and they just top deck a Young Wolf, the fourth Young Wolf. Oh, sorry. I guess I'm a mana short. So 4, then 1, 2, 3. I also I'm 1 mana short of double copying next turn. Be really happy to make this trade. Did I play the Jessica Energy with Mockingbird much since they went stream? Deck seemed real. I think I played like one challenge that we got Nadu twice at, and I played it like one other league and did pretty well. Yeah, I'm open to playing it again. They do get to use this Power Stone to make a food, sack of food here. It's got no cards in their hands, so they're just left for a second, I guess. Yeah, but I did like the Mockingbird deck. So a little bit short on black mana to cast Griselbrand here, but we might be able to cast it next turn. If our Shaman lives, we can copy and then we'll have enough. So we'll see about that. Again, I am a mana short of double copying this turn. So I guess I should just kill the Boggart Trawler instead of killing the Gilded Goose. This way I can cast Griselbrand next turn. And this kind of like allows me to beat like top deck Boggart Trawler or top deck Cauldron for Graveyard Hate. Also next turn I can maybe copy the Cityscape Leveler, which would be pretty dang good too. It is crazy the amount of times like we just beat Surgical. Like I don't know that I've lost a game where my opponent has Surgical with my Omnisciences. Maybe it's happened, but we just like, all right, start casting big stuff. Do the counters disappear from Woodland if you copy the ring? The counters that you put on stay on Woodland, but if you copy like a Karn, it has no loyalty counters and is just dead. But yeah, copying the ring is pretty common line with Woodland. We lost one today. That's it. Yeah, I can't remember. I think we lost a match where we got Surgical. I just can't remember if it happened in that specific game. But it might have happened. We got double Surgical. I thought we won the game. We got double Surgical and then lost the match. Either way, we'll see how game 3 goes. Double Surgical, double Spell plus Pleasure. Yeah, maybe we did lose. It's been, a blur. Won this time though. I'm gonna go use the restroom. Be right back.
What's up? It's me, your friend, Aspiring Spike. What's up? It's me, your friend 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 Aspiring Spike.
All right, still not here, huh? Any decks? Any brews? Hopefully we have time to get to this Naya deck today. This league has taken a long time. Probably have time. We played one match with this deck on Monday, and I thought it looked pretty cool. But then Nadu got banned, and, you know, everything got kind of derailed. I was pretty excited about this one. Just being a bit more on, like, Woodlands copying Flage. Trith with the 34 months. 35 months, thank you so much. Can I give you an idea on how to brew on? I'm lacking inspiration. Well, I tend to not, because I brew for a living, so if I give away all my ideas, then Athena and Lucy don't eat. All right, turn 1 Dryad Arbor. Here's Bryce's terrible brew. His words, not mine. Their words, not mine. Put an insect in play for each forest you control. Shuffle into library. Okay, then these are insects. And then you have fecundity. Well, I've never read Beacon of Creation before. So thankfully they can't put this into their hand off the Rumble. They have a halfling or a wooded or a shifting woodland available to them. They decided to go with the lighted halfling. I think we should just end of turn double Seed of Hope to make it a little bit less obvious what they should do. Have to hit pretty well to be able to combo kill next turn though. Someone top 4 in RCQ with this. Yeah, this deck's been going around. You try to get Grist into play, then recross the paths and make a lot of insects. And I guess I didn't realize Goblin Charbelcher was now on the list. It's something. I don't know. People will definitely punt a lot against decks like that, which is also something. Okay, Seed of Hopes have been not so kind to us today. I just take Stomping Ground so I have Delirium at least. So I should fetch so I have Delirium. With the intention of being... Oh, I guess discarding Omniscience would give me Delirium also. But this is the second time today that we're getting the cookbook. Although... we may also be in a situation where we need that extra spell. We need to like top deck a spell to win the game. Okay, so obviously don't love to be Endurance tier, but at the very least, my Omniscience and Woodlands are still intact, and we'll see what happens. They have a Yawgmoth. That makes things worse. Also, I boarded in my Needle, which, you know, maybe was a punt, but I can't go Karn for Needle next turn. What happened to 2 extra sideboard slots? So you don't need a special spell to combo. I just don't think that's optimal. Is kind of where I landed on that, I guess. Sacking Dryad Arbor to try to hit your land drop is a little bit weird. I do love that they played the Boseiju. Don't love that they have this young wolf that's going to really let them dig very hard next turn. Okay, I did not mean to click the Shifting Woodland there, although I don't think we get too punished by that. We have a win next turn. But my opponent's going to get to draw a lot of cards, and I'm sure they have, like, they both have the ability to combo and the ability to find Boseiju, Surgical Endurance, Court of Calling, Agatha's Soul Cauldron, and they just have one naturally. So. Oh, and they have the combo with it. So 2 and 1. Thoughts so far on Wizards post ban? It seems pretty good, I think. But there, like, Yawgmoth seems tough. We played against Merfolk. We lost 2 Storm. So I do think that it's possible that the emerging metagame is actually less good for it. And then all of a sudden, you're like a lot better against Graveyard Hate, but your combo is, instead of it being Woodlands plus Omniscience, it's like, I guess it still is kind of a 2-card combo. Did they Blood Artist? If so, you had like technically the artist in top 13. I isn't Cauldron plus Sack out. Oh, sorry, they are not. It's -1 life every time. Although I think their ability to find a Blood Artist or a Boseiju or a Surgical in the top 13 is probably still enough of a reason for us to scoop it up there. Oh, Frog. Interesting. I have a lot of action in the hand. I think I'm just going to take another Sprawl. Why Yawgmoth doesn't play 1 copy of 6? Well, so if you want like a value 3-drop to chord 4, you already have the don't discard end of turn. Untap what opponent? Untap. You might realize you might want one of these. I know you right now you think you don't, but might as well see your card. They have a Giganta as their companion. This card's a 3rd land. Okay, maybe not. I take it back. Yeah, it's like if you want to value 3-drop to chord 4, you already have access to Grist, so it just doesn't seem like 6 like fills like a super important role. But 6 is a very good card, and it seems like it mostly seems like the archetype is just bursting at the seams of options, and so not quite lucky enough to mill Omniscience here. How often do you think they're playing Spell Pierce? I think very rarely, so I'm just going to play this and then play Tapped Stomping Ground. And then we can Griselbrand them next turn. Wait, they missed their land drop? They discard 4 lands, miss your land drop. Oh, sorry, I'm just laughing too much. Cora with the 16. Thank you, welcome back. Did the play around instant removal? Well, playing against instant removal in red by discarding proactively as a frog deck doesn't make sense. Just funny, I don't know. They're having a hard time tapping their mana. They flames my token. They attack for 6. Now, obviously, this Bowmaster is pretty good against my Griselbrand. So this may be a ring turn. We'll see what we draw. Obviously, an Omniscience is kind of an easy win if that's the top deck. I think I could discard 2 here. I'm down to 9. Let's go. Seed of Cope into play patterns. So probably just going to rumble for a land here. Don't think it really matters too much which land. Guess another Woodlands. Just when I'd be able to have an untapped land into my play next turn. What are you supposed to do against Dothy? Well, Dothy Voidwalker is almost non-existent in Modern. Sometimes Necro has them in the sideboard, but lately they've been playing Graveyard Trespasser instead, which is kind of funny. It's, you know, against Dothy, you're going to have a hard time. If it's played on turn 2, if it's played later, it's not such a big problem. But it is kind of the card that just like isn't in the metagames at the moment, so you know it's not a question you necessarily need to answer right now either. It's strange to me these zoo decks are playing Bowmaster, Nikado, and Frog, but aren't finding room for Guide, Pride, of Johnny. That's what I've been saying, Elk. We played Guide, Pride, of Johnny and Zoo like a month ago, and I thought it looked like definitely correct. Seemed very optimal to me. At the very least, I'm shocked that they're just all playing these instead. But what are you gonna do? What I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna cast the Seasoned Pyromancer. I think probably just pro everything is a bit better than a more likely kill. Trespasser can block. I get it. I get it. That card. I think Trespasser is just kind of too low card quality for modern, but it isn't the worst card I've ever seen anybody. I've registered worse cards. Okay, so let's copy Omniscience. This is game 1, so pretty unlikely to get Surgical. I do think Trespasser's objectively weak card. It's been legitimately a solid role player and specifically Necro. I mean, I get it. More power to you. What is Guide Pride of Johnny? The package of Guide of Souls, Ocelot Pride, and then the new Johnny. Which I just think are just better than Ragavan, Wild Nikado, Bowmaster. Probably better than Frog. Thinking getting back in modern, can I still play Inquisition and Thoughtseize? Funny enough, those cards got better because of the grief ban. It's probably the best. If that's what you like to do with modern, now all of a sudden you don't have to feel bad that you're not playing grief anymore, I guess. And I think Necro Dominance is still a viable deck and wants to play a high quantity of those cards. Got ourselves a reader. I think my opponent has Leyline Binding. They like tapped a white mana, then untapped it earlier. They thought about going after the ring, and then we played around it by playing Omniscience first. And now here we are just gonna get to win anyways because we drew 2 Karns off of our one ring. What good draws. Would you play Raptor and Death Shadow in the same deck? So no, but like the answer is more because I think you want to play Street Wraith plus Phoenix if you play Shadow. Like if I'm going to put Shadow in my deck, I want to play Detective's Phoenix to give it flying and haste. And if I'm going to do that, I want to have Street Wraith in my deck because it's good with Death Shadow to play your shadows more aggressively, and also is like a lot of free fuel for your evidence to collect. And you just don't want to play Raptor and Street Wraith in the same deck. So I think the Phoenix is more important than Raptor for that kind of shell. Ironworks with the gifted sub. Thank you so much. Do we know when Duskborn comes out on Moto? You know, I didn't know what the name of the set was called, and then like 2 days ago, Esther's like, I got an ad for the next Magic set. And I like legit didn't know what it was called, and she told me, she's like, Dusk something. They don't play Rest in Peace, do they? They usually play Flage. Let's play 1 Mite. I think I'll play over a Spyro on the draw. I guess they do have bindings. You usually want to go -2 Spyro against Bowmaster decks. How do we bounce Statue after we bounce Karn? So Statue doesn't target. Statue bounces. You just pick a permanent when Statue resolves to bounce. So they got rid of my Karn, but then I just picked itself up. Why is this deck not in 3-0? We lost to Yawgmoth, which actually seems like a pretty tough matchup. They got Cauldron and Surgical and Boseiju and Endurance. A lot of very good tools for the matchup. Thoughts on Claim Flame and Grixis DRC Frog style deck? I would much rather play Detective's Phoenix if I was going to play a card like that gives haste from the graveyard. So now I might want to traverse for Woodlands. So I guess I'm just going to cast Mite here. Think about building this. What are the worst matchups? Merfolk, Ruby Storm, and maybe Yawgmoth are the bad matchups. And then you're very good against, I think, Jeskai, all energy shells, Frog. I think you're favored against Tron, but it's kind of play draw dependent. Maybe a closer matchup than you'd like it to be. I think Necro's a matchup I've been beating a lot, and I think probably got better with the ban, but also kind of a hard one to evaluate potentially. Yeah, I guess I don't want them to go Bowmaster kill Spawn, then block the Mite. Ruby Storm is impossible. I played 20 Omni games so far. I've beaten it at least once, but just because they like fizzled really hard. I don't know if there's like a plan for that matchup that makes sense. I think your plan is hope that they fizzle, and I don't know, maybe that's enough. So could play around Bowmasters maybe a bit better by sacking the spawn token. Yeah, I think that's okay. Lets me traverse either way. I agree, Phoenix is a much better card. Claim Flame just allows you to not be on Street Wraith in a Death Shadow build. I'm just not a fan of that build, but it's probably just better. Yeah, that's that. I see that as feedback. Yeah, but Phoenix is just so good. I think you should just be happy to play that card. And then you get to play Inti with Street Wraith too, and Inti's pretty solid. Could play Damping Sphere. Storm gets super popular. The problem is Damping Sphere turns off your own combo too. It's like it's pretty tough to be like feeling like Damping Sphere is gonna get the job done when you just like have like no ability to like realistically race them. Okay, now we can kind of hide to traverse for a bit, hide behind the sprawl. So maybe you probably play like Soulless Jailer, right, instead of Damping Sphere. I have curiosity, have you Karn with E in this deck yet? Yeah, we did it. We've done it like 3 times today. Did it against Merfolk, did it against Jund Saga. It's explosives is a really good tutor target. It kills lock pieces, stabilizes boards, kills Harbinger of the Tides. All pretty relevant things. So I won't be able to Mite their binding yet. That should be okay. Like, assuming they're gonna binding my Omniscience, I can just like respond with Cash Grab. Oh, stop. Okay, sure. Okay, I don't have the mana. Now we Cash Grab, we find just a Fable. Do you feel like people have caught up with this deck, or does it still have a pretty big brewer's advantage? I think it's definitely more of a known quantity. People have been using their surgicals more effectively against us today, but it still is just kind of a difficult deck to play against. You know, it's to some extent, and you know, I don't I don't like to always call things Splinter Twin, but it's like you like the threat of the combo, the pressure of the combo is really nice to have access to when you can just slam Fables and Spyros and Karns and Rings instead of and while your opponents hold up interaction. Like you just kind of always feel like you're the one making them make moves, if that makes sense. Opponent's draw is so bad. Right, let's get a 4-1 prediction going. My opponent has revealed Giganta the Wellspring. I have a really borderline hand. I'm going to mulligan here because our Woodlands enters tapped. I think we'll probably keep this on the play against Giganta because we can afford to be like a little slower, but on the draw it seems a little bit tough. Okay, then my 6-card hand is pretty good. Okay, just put this back up. At least for mulligan decisions, if our opponents take this long to show up, I just like to throw up the hand hider for a sec. Just in case. And one thing, I'm still committed. If Twin ever gets unbanned in Modern, I will do a 24-hour stream. And I don't exactly expect to win a lot of matches in that stream. Keeping my life total high and being able to cast Spyro are both kind of important things here. Twin staying on the list is engagement bait. They're playing us. Maybe, huh? Winning a lot of matches against the mirror. Hell yeah. It would be fun. It would be a very fun 24 hours. I will do a 24-day stream. That's how confident I am that Twin will never be unbanned. I mean, they have explicitly said several times that Twin will never be unbanned. So, you know, you might be onto something. But I personally will never lose hope. So if I find Woodland, which I found, if this Rumble resolves, we can Omniscience, but we won't necessarily have too much to do into that. Oh, I guess we can do it anyways, because now we just still have Delirium. Oh, but we don't have the token. Dang. All right, a good stubborn denial. Twin looks funny in the ban list. We have a wild and a cattle situation. Yeah. Again, we've talked about this like every day, but of course it's a good week to talk about it. But yeah, I think Twin would be very safe on ban. It would I think a lot like Wild Nacatl or Jace the Mind Sculptor or Preordained coming off the ban list. So they predictably exile my Omniscience. I'm gonna go ahead and block here so I'm not dead to a Flames. Never mind. Okay. Must be nice. Now do Green Sun's the other sign a totally innocent Titan player. Yeah, I usually most people who say unban Green Sun Zenith are innocent Titan players, or sorry, innocent Maverick players. But Titan would be nuts, or sorry, Green Sun would be nuts, and Titan, it's like, I don't know if you play Dryad Arbor, but it's like 2-mana Grazer, 4-mana Dryad, Titan, Cultivator Colossus, or an answer to Blood Moon, just all on curve. You can even get Roxy and have it be an answer to Harbinger of the Tides too. It just does everything perfectly on curve. Just like it would be so insane. If Twin was unbanned, would we see more big Jace? Like Jace the Mind Sculptor? Is that big Jace now? No, we would not see anymore. Because like Twin would play the ring, and then you could untap the ring with your Deceiver Exarchs and your Pester Mites. Would Green Sun Zenith be that much better than Pact and Titan? Yeah, it would be. And let's like you don't want to Pact for Dryad that often, but you want a Green Sun Zenith for it. You pack like Green Sun Zenith for Grazer, Green Sun Zenith for Arbor potentially. It would be significantly better, I think. Never thought about Pester Mites and tapping ring. It's a scary thought. Well, you got to give the Twin players a chance. Maybe it's okay. But it'll never happen. I think. All right, turn 1 Ragavan. The bane of all combo decks. I think we should keep this to be better against that monkey that's over there. I think I'm taking the Sprawl. Excuse me, not exactly clear. Probably gonna block also. Yeah, you still play some Summoners packs in Titan, but I don't know. Green Sun Zenith, just let's not. Let's not. Maybe I shouldn't be discarding Boseiju because of binding. I'll discard the Cash Grab, I guess, because of that. And Traverse allows me to Omniscience them next turn. Jace will never see play in a ring format unless they print a bunch of pushed miracles. They'll want to cast on turn 5 for some reason. Yeah, maybe. I mean, we did trophy with Jace miracles like maybe twice back when the Surveil lands came out, but yeah, it wasn't a super optimized. Cast a creature. Well, they didn't counter this. Kind of seems like they do have Stubborn Denial, though. But if they have Stub plus Leyline Binding, though, that'll be kind of bad. Worse if they have Surgical, I guess. Which they might have if they're thinking about it. Although surely Surgical would have been cast by now. So I think to play around Leyline Binding, I'm just going to cast the Ring here. If they stub this and then they binding the Omniscience, all this is on the stack, then it's not the end of the world. Okay, Consign with Replicate is fine. So now we Rumble. And then we find a ring. Which will take over the Fable. And then we'll go cast Ring, but before I tap the ring, I'll cast a Spyro, since I don't want to necessarily discard the card I draw off the ring. Land. Fable. Not a win, but, you know, Omniscience turns are still pretty powerful. What was the point of replicating? I don't know. They obviously didn't have a binding, but it seems like they are replicating just because they don't have anything else to do with the mana. I don't think they're playing around anything specifically. Thoughts on Elves or just dead in the face of Wrath the Skies? Well, I'll say this. I haven't played against a Wrath the Skies all week. It does kind of seem like the Jeskai players are hiding. You can also main deck a Sun Cleanser to Court of Calling for, but that only does so much. I am open to the possibility of Elves possibly being a playable deck. It did seem pretty, like, Elves was doing work for us, like, shortly into MH3 before people were playing a lot of Wrath the Skies, and if people are kind of back off of it, it could kind of replace Nadu for a little bit in the metagame, but it's the kind of deck that like could maybe pop up every once in a while to be okay, rather than being a deck that you want to like main all the time. Oh yeah, they didn't have binding up anyways, that's true. I think they could have 2 mana binding. But they couldn't binding and stub or consign. Okay, let's go to game 3. I do feel like if I register Elves, we immediately queue into Wrath the Skies. I'm looking to FNM tomorrow. Do I still like Reshaper plus LPV Fiend and Mono Blue Eldrazi? I mean, I thought the deck was fine, yeah. I would, you know, definitely think that would be a good FNM deck. Oh, the deck was very fun, too. Probably not a mulliganable hand. Don't love it on the draw. I can zoom. Is Ensnaring Bridge main deck good in this matchup? Probably not. Against their Leyline Binding. It's like you can grab it sometimes, but I think you just want to leave it as a Karn target. Do you think this deck is RCQ win good or just meme deck and you are a very good player? This deck, you know, we top 8'd the Mox with this deck, and that is a tournament that is much harder than your average RC. I think it is much harder to top 8 a Mox event, a Mox Open, than to win an RCQ. So I would, yes, I would recommend this for your tournaments. And in fact, this is like close to my number one choice for a tournament at the moment. Tell me the Mux qualifier. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Not the Mux itself. The Mux qualifier, not the Mux itself. But yes, that tournament is harder than your average RCQ. I think it's harder to top 8 that than to win your average RCQ. Probably cooked here though. Cooked here. So 3-2 this league. 3-2 this league. The Yawgmoth and Merfolk and Store matchups all seemed pretty dang tough. Might still play this in the challenge tomorrow. We'll see. We'll see. I do think I still like the Woodlands deck. It's kind of tough to say without really feeling like what the metagame looks like.